Chapter 13. Health and Substance Abuse. The Rhythm of Resistance and Recovery. Bob Dylan's music was more than sound. It was a diary of awakening, a chronicle of societal turbulence, a tale of self-discovery and defiance. Much like a blues guitar riff cutting through silence, mental health struggles often emerge from a deeper rhythm of trauma, stigma, and isolation. In this chapter, we examine how personal expression, especially in music and media, is both a reflection of and a response to the broader sociological forces shaping emotional well-being. Health disparities are not just about unequal access to doctors or medication. They reveal the deeper divide caused by race, class, geography, and cultural perceptions. As Ferris and Stein argue, health disparities mirror the fault lines of social stratification, where communities of color, LGBTQ+ individuals, and economically marginalized groups face greater barriers to care and wellness. Healthcare systems, though tasked with healing, can unintentionally reproduce inequality through institutional bias, inadequate outreach, and economic gatekeeping. These systems often favor those who can afford premium coverage, leaving others to navigate underfunded clinics and overcrowded emergency rooms. According to Giddens, healthcare systems reproduce social hierarchies by allocating resources in ways that reflect, rather than challenge, dominant power structures. The conversation about mental health must extend beyond pathology to encompass identity, environment, and cultural stigma. As Makionis emphasizes, mental health is shaped by social experiences as much as biology, and societal attitudes play a critical role in treatment and recognition. In communities where emotional expression is seen as weakness or taboo, individuals are often denied the tools to heal, leading to deeper cycles of despair and alienation. Substance abuse, in turn, is not merely an individual failing. It is often a social reaction to structural deprivation, trauma, and the absence of support. Butler argues that addiction is a response to the voids left by failing institutions, a symptom of ignored pain rather than deviant choice. Whether opioids in rural towns or synthetic drugs in urban environments, substance abuse becomes both a personal and political issue, demanding responses rooted in empathy, reform, and cultural sensitivity. Expression and stigma. So what social factors contribute to health disparities, and how do healthcare systems differ across societies? Also, what policies address mental health and substance abuse crises? These are some of the guiding questions that shape our understanding of health disparities and well-being. Health disparities refer to systematic differences in health outcomes across populations due to social, economic, and environmental disadvantages, as Braveman explained back in 2017. Healthcare systems are, basically, the organized network of institutions, professionals, and resources that deliver health services to populations, according to Shai and Singh in 2019. Mental health, on the other hand, is a person's emotional, psychological, and social well-being, which influences how they think, feel, and act. That's from the National Institute of Mental Health, looking ahead to 2025. And finally, substance abuse is the harmful or hazardous use of psychoactive substances, including alcohol and illicit drugs, which often leads to addiction and social consequences, as described by the American Psychiatric Association in 2013. Amy Winehouse, a voice of vulnerability and warning, stands out in the conversation about health disparities and well-being, especially regarding mental health, substance abuse, and healthcare systems. Why? Well, Amy Winehouse's iconic album Back to Black, released in 2006, is more than just a musical triumph. It's, a confessional diary of heartbreak, depression, and addiction. Her hit single Rehab famously defied treatment norms. "They tried to make me go to rehab, I said no, no, no," a line that became both a cultural catchphrase and a tragic foreshadowing of her struggle with substance abuse. Winehouse battled alcoholism, drug dependency, bulimia, and bipolar disorder, often in full view of the public and media. Despite multiple attempts at rehabilitation, she died of alcohol poisoning in 2011 at age 27, with a blood alcohol level 5 times the legal limit. Her story, honestly, illustrates how mental health crises are often misunderstood, stigmatized, and inadequately treated, especially when they're compounded by fame, trauma, and systemic gaps in care. Her father later acknowledged that Amy suffered from co-occurring disorders, and the Amy Winehouse Foundation was created to support young people facing addiction and emotional challenges. Her life and death really highlight the urgent need for integrated healthcare systems that address both psychological and physical well-being. Health disparities are deeply rooted in social structures. Emile Durkheim emphasized that social integration and collective norms shape individual well-being. When social bonds weaken, individuals face increased risks of illness and psychological distress. Factors such as poverty, racial discrimination, and educational inequality contribute to unequal access to healthcare and higher rates of chronic disease among marginalized populations. These disparities, reflect not just individual choices but also systemic failures in fostering social solidarity and equitable resource distribution. Healthcare systems, they differ across societies in their approach to equity and access. Countries with universal healthcare, like Sweden or the UK, prioritize collective responsibility, which really aligns with Durkheim's view that institutions should temper egoism and promote altruism. In contrast, the United States system, which is fragmented and market-driven, often exacerbates inequality, leaving millions uninsured or underinsured despite high spending. This divergence, I think, illustrates how institutional design reflects broader social values and affects population health outcomes. Policies addressing mental health and substance abuse crises are, more and more, aiming to restore social cohesion. The Mental Health Parity and Addiction Equity Act, for example, mandates equal insurance coverage for behavioral health. Meanwhile, initiatives like the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline and Oregon's Measure 110 reforms seek to expand access to care without criminalization. Durkheim's concept of anomie, that sense of social normlessness, helps explain the rise in mental health struggles amid rapid societal change. Effective policy, really, must rebuild communal support systems and ensure that care is accessible, dignified, and rooted in social justice. Society's response to environmental crises is more than a technical fix, it's a cultural reckoning. As rock and roll once gave voice to the unheard, today's climate movement channels collective anxiety and hope through music, protest, and policy. Environmental problems, from polluted rivers to burning forests, are not distant tragedies. They are woven into the fabric of everyday life, shaping who thrives and who struggles. For marginalized groups, the rhythm of resistance is familiar. Communities living near factories, highways, or flood-prone coasts bear the brunt of environmental harm. The IPCC warns that climate change is not just a planetary emergency, but a magnifier of social inequality. When disaster strikes, some evacuate by car, others have no way out. Music, like Marvin Gaye's and Billie Eilish's haunting lyrics, amplifies the grief and urgency felt by those on the front lines. Their songs become anthems for environmental justice, echoing in city streets and global summits alike. As governments debate, activists demand, who is protected, who is left behind? The answer demands more than policy, it requires solidarity. Equitable climate adaptation means listening to those who have been silenced, investing in resilient infrastructure, and rewriting the rules so that no one is expendable. The Fire Joel and Fall Out Boy sang about still burns, but in every protest chant and policy shift, there is a spark of hope. In the end, the question remains: will we inherit a world of ashes, or will we rise, together, to conduct a new symphony of survival and justice? This concludes Chapter 15. Please see next video for Chapter 17 through 19. Please let us know in the comments below how environment might affect your future. Let us know where you're attending school. Like and subscribe to. Stay up to date with fun and informative releases.